Hey, look there.
These are my drawings. I didn't know which one. Oh, that's exciting. Okay, should I do this one? Or this one? This is better paper. We'll see. I don't know.
Oh, well, I do the one on the better paper.
Okay.
Cam is this, you know? Yep, that's the right one.
Did you get lunch or were you just rushing around?
Oh, I already ate lunch. I had lunch and watched some YouTube.
Oh, nice. So I'll do this. And this. And this. What were the colors I was going to do? Is this the one?
We have 6 people in the waiting room.
It's called Swallow Tan, right?
I will change. The host will be this computer.
I thought you were the host.
Yeah, I'll be the co-host.
The host.
So Leahaha.
No, just Leah.
Okay. You're set.
So I was thinking of doing, are we being recorded?
Yes.
Okay. I was thinking of doing yellow and pink or blue and purple and pink. What do you think? Do one color, one the other?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Nice.
Join with computer audio. Don't know why you keep asking me to do that, because you don't. And there we go. And this way I won't be crowding. Okay, we're all set, and we still have 5 minutes. I got your water.
Mm-hmm.
I will go to the restroom. And
Can we move this down just a little bit?
yeah, move it anywhere you like.
Okay. You go ahead. I'm all right.
There?
Yeah. Is that okay if I look at that way? Should I stand?
Yeah. So,
Okay. Okay.
I'll be right back.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
Got 10 people. Is she having a class in there?
Not right now
Okay.
that I know of.
Okay.
Okay, let's let them in.
Okie dokie.
Okay, we're in.
Good.
Hi.
Hey.
Welcome everybody to today's Vitality Watercolor class. Excuse me. So I will turn this over to Mary Leah right now.
All right. Well, as Tom said, welcome to the Rum River Arts Center. We're here in the studio live to bring you this free Zoom class. So we're really excited that you guys are all here today. So welcome. My name's Mary Leah, and we've been doing these Zoom classes for a little while, haven't we, Tom? It's been really great.
Yes, we have.
To bring you these from the studio here at the Arts Center. So thank you guys all for coming. Today we're going to be working on a butterfly, and I've got some photographs to show you and some of my work, and I'll take you through the drawing part of it, and some of you may have already worked on a drawing, but we'll start from the beginning and do a couple little drawings. You could use a piece of scrap paper if you want to first. Otherwise, you could draw very lightly on your watercolor paper to begin with. I use 140-pound watercolor paper, and I like it to be the cold press, which has a tooth to it. It's got texture. I like that paper. And then I've got my Princeton brush, which I'll show you in a sec. I've got a palette with colors on it already, but you could also use a painting set where the colors are in there for you all set up and ready. So welcome. You'll want to mute so that you can just be listening and following along, and then we'll have time for sharing at the end. So just hope you're all having a good day, and it's a little rainy out there. At least it was when I was coming over here. So yeah, it's a good day for doing a painting. So awesome. Yeah, so what I'm going to have you guys do is get your supplies ready. Like I said, I've got my paper in front of me. I've got my brush I'm left-handed, so I have my brush to the left of me, and my container of water as well. So set it up so that you're comfortable, and that's kind of a good idea always to set it up that way. So anyway, all right. There's a lot of people here today, so welcome if you're just joining in. We're just getting started here, so it'll be really fun. I'm looking forward to it. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Tom put the camera so that it's sort of just looking down on my work so that you can see and follow along today. So again, thank you guys all so much for joining us today. Okay, so let's get that ready, Tom, when you get a minute.
All right. And if everybody could pin the video of the speaker, you'll be able to always see the large view. All right, we're ready.
Okie dokie. Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Tom. Okay, so let's see. Should I have this bigger so I can kind of see?
All right, sure.
Very good. Okay. So let's just start with a couple different photographs. Is that light and a little bit hard to see, or is it just the reflection? It's okay.
Okay, that's the reflection.
Okay, so you know, there's so many beautiful water. Oh, that's good. So many beautiful, thank you, butterflies. And I was reading a little bit about them. And in Minnesota, there are like about 146 species of butterflies, including, you know, there are just so many different ones, but the monarch we all know, and the swallowtail. I think I have a picture of that. I think this is the swallowtail. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong. But it was just kind of fun to learn about them a little bit. I think this is a really pretty monarch here. That's pretty. And the flowers. And I was also reading about the butterflyconservation.org is a really good website to learn about butterflies, and they talk a lot about preserving them, as well as the Minnesota Zoo, which was a good website. And it gives you a lot of information. So minnesotamn.zoo.org, that was a good website. And so anyway, these are very beautiful. And this is another one that I have here, which I think is lovely. And this is the monarch on a, looks like it's some kind of, oh, it's a pear tree. So very beautiful. Okay. So this is one that I did, and just kind of on a sunflower. It's kind of very bright. So what I'm going to do to start with is to walk you through the drawing of the butterfly, just sort of a basic drawing. I like to say that when we draw, we can just sort of simplify and then refine. So when I simplify this, I'm just thinking about the basic shape, remembering that this is symmetrical, and I can always go back later and add the details. We paint that way as well with watercolor. We simplify by doing our washes and getting our colors in, and then we let it dry and add the details later. So just kind of keep that in mind, that we don't start with the details, generally speaking. We're going to start with sort of a broader or more generalized idea, okay? So what I like to do with this butterfly, and I drew this in pencil, but I'm going to outline this, which I find this has been really helpful this summer to do this into the fall, to help you guys be able to see this online. So I started, and I'll just go over this with a box, okay? So you could do a little practice one to start with if you want to, but just a basic box, okay? Whoops, this is wiggling for some reason.
What is?
The table. I don't know why. Thank you. Okay, so once I do that, I'm going to draw a line down the center of my box. So there's my line down the center. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then the second line that I'm going to draw is going to be a little bit below. I'm going to do a horizontal line a little bit below center. Okay, not exactly in the center. Then I can kind of think about this area here where my lines are meeting, and think about arranging the wings of the butterfly. So I'm going to do this with my marker so you can see. And you don't want to do it with a marker though, just do it with your pencil. So I'm thinking about this shape, and this part comes all the way up to that corner. Okay, and then I curve it around and I bring it down and across. So this is very basic, super basic. But like I said, sometimes when we're drawing, we want to simplify our shapes and our lines to begin with, and then get our details going. So here's my very simple butterfly. And remember that butterflies are symmetrical, so that just means they're the same on both sides. And here's this little body right here, which consists just like other insects, the head and the thorax and the abdomen, which I didn't really realize that. And then I'm going to give them some little wings, or excuse me, antenna. Okay, so there's a very, very basic front view of a butterfly. Now, I can go later and do my lines. I don't know, that'll be okay. Excuse me. So I can go later and add the details, right? For this butterfly. Okay, so just start with it simple. So when you're ready, you can think about drawing this on your watercolor paper. Now, when we do that, we work very lightly with our pencil, and I use this kind of an eraser, which is called a kneaded eraser, and that works really, really well. And then I have a #2 pencil. Actually, this is an HB pencil. So HB just means that it's a #2 pencil, basically. So it's gonna get the job done for me. Okay. So let's do a little one that is a side view, just in case you might want one to do one like that. So this one, excuse me, I drew a rectangle. You know, you can't see it yet, but the rectangle, I positioned it sideways on my paper. So because I don't want him straight up and down, I want him at a slant. So you can go either way, but here's my rectangle. Now, these are just guidelines that I will erase. Okay, so I'm going to do that one with a marker too. I'm going to go over my drawing. So, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot something. So I make a line below the halfway mark, a horizontal line below the halfway mark on my rectangle. Okay, so then just starting from that area, I'm bringing the wing, top of the wing up to the tip, right up here. And then I'm kind of coming around, and I can curve it a little bit and bring it down. And then the bottom one is kind of the same way. Okay, the one behind it, coming up. Pretty simple. And here's his little body. Okay. So there's a little side view of a butterfly. Okay, very simple. So what you'll want to do now, I didn't go through there. What you'll want to do now is to think about your composition and how you want to position your butterflies on your paper. Now, this is probably really hard to see, but I've got mine drawn on my watercolor paper. I'll try holding it up here. See if you can see it.
Better.
Yeah, so I've got this one is my bigger one, and it's a front view, and then here's my side view coming this way. I kind of like the idea of the butterfly going towards the other butterfly, but you could have it going off the other way, which is fine, but I think this is a nice composition. I've also just kind of done some very general little flower shapes, but most likely I won't pay too much attention to those when I do the background. So anyway, so that's an idea for you, but think about how you want to arrange them. And I've got how big is this paper, Tom? It's probably like,
That's about 7 by 10.
yeah, 7 by 10. So I don't have a big, huge piece of paper. I did another composition, and I'm going to show you. It's still, I know these are hard to see, but this one has 3 butterflies and the pear, flowering pear, kind of behind it. So you could do any kind of flower, and don't worry that you need to draw that right now, because we can kind of just make that up as we go along. Okay? Yeah, this is a much bigger sheet, probably 9 by 12.
That's probably half of one of them. So
Yeah.
it's probably a 6 by
Yep.
9.
Yep. And so while you're drawing, I'll leave this up. And this up. At my house one of my place where I used to live in Michigan, and I had on the front porch, we had some chairs and stuff, and then we had growing a butterfly bush. And so this photograph was taken. I took this picture as I was sitting in a chair, and there was the butterfly right on the butterfly bush. So it was kind of an exciting thing. They used to just come there so often, right to that butterfly bush. And you know, there are a lot of different flowers that butterflies are attracted to, and the butterfly bush is one, but they like daylilies and alyssum and asters and cosmos. So, you know, you can, and you probably have a lot of those flowers in your garden, and think about what you want to plant that will attract more of them, which is sort of exciting, I think. Okay, so you guys could give me a thumbs up when you're ready, when you've got your drawing organized. Or we can wait a couple more minutes. The painting of it, I always say, goes much quicker than the drawing part, right? Because we just want to feel like our drawing is making us happy, and that we like it. So looks like people are still drawing a little bit. I'm thinking about the colors that I'm going to use for my butterfly today, or my butterflies, I should say. And I was thinking about colors that would look really nice together. So for example, you might choose to use yellow and some pink, or alizarin crimson. You might have that color, because when those two colors mix together, they make a nice orange, and they can also, with more pink in them, they'll make more of a peach. So that would be fun. We don't have to make our butterflies super realistic unless we want to, that's fine. But I'm gonna just kind of play around with different colors today, and I thought that would be a nice combination. Also, you might want to work with blues and purples and throw a little pink in there. We know those will all work nice together. So try and think of color combinations that are going to be pleasant when they mix together, because that's what's going to happen. They're going to mix together right on the watercolor paper. So lots of times we let the paint flow on the paper by adding our colors and a little bit of dampness to the watercolor paper itself. And then also we mix right in our tray, which is, you know, I have this tray, which I like to mix my paints in here. You could use a plate. This is a nice set here that I've got. You guys can probably see this, but this is a great set that we have here at the Art Center, and I think you can purchase this. And you can also get a brush. So here's my brush. This is a number 6 Princeton. And then I also have a number 10 Princeton. Okay, and these are round brushes. Somebody asked me the other day about flat brushes. And of course we use flat brushes, but today I'm using round. So flat brushes are good to have, especially when you're doing a landscape. They're nice to have on hand. So if you're purchasing brushes, you want to get good ones, good quality watercolor brushes. It won't work very well with an acrylic brush, just telling you, right? Or an oil painting brush. And don't dip just don't mix them. If you're using a watercolor brush, don't mix it in with your acrylics, because it will ruin them. So anyway, okay, and I also have some tissues nearby, which is nice to have for wiping my brush off and getting excess water off. So you want to think too about, I'm going to start painting now, okay? You want to think about how much water you're using. You don't want tons and tons of water. You don't want too much, but you don't want too little, because then it will be dry. So a lot of the trick, or the way that we learn about watercolor, is practicing and understanding, or by practicing, you'll understand how much water you need to use. So that's sort of something that you just have to play around with it, really. Wouldn't you say, Tom, before you
Yeah.
can?
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you just really have to play with it. So I'm gonna, go ahead.
It changes every time. It depends on the weather, whether it's winter, summer, the humidity in the air. So you just have to kind of get used to understanding how the wetness affects your paper at what time of the year or day, or even evening or morning.
Yeah, that's super true. Yep. So what we're going to do first, and I know you guys can't see this, I always say that, and it's okay. I'm going to use clean water. So I have a container here with clean water in it. And I am going to, well, I want to first think about the colors that I'm going to use. I'm going to back up just a tad here. And I had a scrap piece of paper. So here's a scrap piece of paper. And I'm going to think about the colors that I might use. So I have some lemon yellow. Now, like I said, you guys, you use the colors that you like, okay, that you want to use. So there's my lemon yellow. And here's my pink, or you could use alizarin. If I want to make it stronger, in other words, darker, okay, I just use less water, more pigment, less water. So these are both the same color. The value is this, or excuse me, this one is a lighter value and this is a darker value. So the lightness and darkness of these colors, lighter value, medium value, and dark value, is affected by the amount of water that I use. Okay, so when these two mix together, whoops, that was not a good idea. Okay, I can mix them. I'll show you on my palette right here. And I can get a really nice color here. The more pink I put with it, it gets a little stronger. Now, the more yellow that I use, there's my yellow. Put a little of that in there. And I do get this real soft sort of peach color. Okay, so you can let these colors blend right on the paper to make things happen, and you can also mix them on your tray. Okay, so I think these are the colors I'm going to do on one of mine. The other butterfly I'll probably do with blues and purples and a little bit of the pink. Okay, so if you're using a set like this, then you just take the paint right out of the set. You have to get it wet, and then you can just paint with it. Okay, that's a really pretty blue that is in this set. So I know these colors will not only look nice together next to each other, but when they get blended together, they look nice too. So there's three different colors, right? Looks like someone is coming in. Susan's iPhone entered the waiting room.
Okay.
Okay, so again, the value is going to be affected by the amount of water that I use. So here's purple with lots more water. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start with my yellows. There's my color chart right there. It's good. Okay, so the purpose of dampening, and a lot of you have taken class from me, so you know this already, but the purpose of dampening my surface first allows, I use the word flow, it allows the paints to mix nicely right on the watercolor paper. So I get softness to begin with. Now, another idea would be to do a very pale wash of my base color. My base color here is going to be yellow. So I can do that. I can make a very pale mix on my palette and paint this really lightly with lots of water, okay? But it's not a puddle sitting up on my paper. It's just a soft wash, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and do that on this butterfly here. I'm going to avoid his body, but if you get paint on there, that's okay, because eventually you'll be making his body dark, so the dark can go right over top of the lighter color, so it'll be fine, so don't worry. Right? So this is nice and damp. I can always re-wet it. I'm just putting a very pale wash here. You can also leave some areas, we call it paper white. In other words, I'm not putting any color there at all. Just leaving it empty. So this wing, I drew it going underneath the other butterfly's wing because I wanted to create a little overlap, and that overlap creates depth and makes it a little more interesting. So there's my initial wash, and now remember, this is still damp. I can get more pigment, and I'm grabbing a little bit of Hansa yellow, which is a little warmer yellow, and I think I'll pop a little bit of it right here around the body. See how it's just sort of gently flowing into the wash that I just put down. Seems like every time you do it, it comes out a little bit different. That's what's fun to me about watercolor. It has a little bit of unpredictability to it, I would say. Don't you think, Tom?
Yes.
I mean, you can,
The
yeah,
creative surprises.
it's just lovely. And I think that's what's so fun for me about it, is you get different things, interesting things happening on the paper. And it's just staying right where I put it, because, I mean, inside this, the lines that I made, because the rest of my paper's dry. So I'm only working in here. I'm getting a little of this peach here. I like to turn my paper around just because it works for me to get into the areas I want to get. So you can see it's just softly mixing here in this wash. Okay, so if I want to get really bright with the pink, I can do that. So I would say I'm dotting the paint in more than or what's the right word? I suppose dotting is a really good word, as opposed to brushing it. But you could brush it if you want to. There's a little more brushing motion. So that creates a little more of a shaded look. You can certainly try that. You don't want to overwork it. I'm going to soften this a little bit. You don't want to go over it and over it and over it, because that sort of takes away from the freshness of it. Well, that's a cute little butterfly. Not realistic necessarily in the colors, but still kind of fun. You could do a whole page of butterflies. That'd be fun, huh?
Yes. Would that be a flock?
Yeah, I think it is a flock.
I know.
We'd have to look it up. I think it is, though. Yeah. So I'm just getting, now it's starting to dry, my paper, so I can always re-wet it if I need to. The other thing just to keep in mind is that it's going to dry lighter. My painting is going to dry lighter, but also remember that once this, I like those little, once this dries, I can paint on top of it. In other words, I can add another layer of watercolor. I can do details on top of this. I could use a dark color and add the, you know, all the beautiful markings that are in the butterfly. Or I could use the colors that I have here and make markings in them, in the wings, right? So right now it's very soft, but again, I can do details, fine details as another layer once my image is dry. It needs to be dry, that's really important, okay? So there's that little guy, I'm pretty happy with him. Kind of cute. I'm gonna wait until the wings are dry before I do his body. Now, if I did do the body now, I run the risk of things kind of mixing, and I don't want that to happen. Okay, so that's kind of cute. Yeah. All right, so I think I can do this one here. I'm going to change my colors up a little bit. And I don't want to do this wing here because it's right next to that one. It's right next to it. So again, the colors could mingle. Now, sometimes we want that to happen. So sometimes we want that to happen, and that's okay. But I don't want that to happen right now. So I'm going to use my blues this time. I'm going to use these colors. I think this is super pretty.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty, yeah, really pretty. So
What blue is that?
that's the blue right out of this pan.
That's a pretty blue.
I think so.
Yeah, it looks like it is.
Yeah. Okay. So I think, you know, it's fun to have fun. It's fun to play around with the colors. Now this time I just got this a little bit wet here with clean water. And I want to test my color. That's that blue. So you can use it right out of the pan or right out of the tube. That's okay. Or you can mix them together. Oh, that's a little strong. I want the butterflies to be kind of soft in their colors. Okay, but I think this is pretty. So it's always good to have a little piece of paper by you to see what you got for color. There. Okay, so the water is seeping in now into the fibers of this paper. Now I'm using Winsor, what is this called? What kind of paper is this called?
Arches.
Arches, I forgot, I'm sorry. So this is the Arches paper, which I really like it a lot, but you can see how it's moving now into the water. So very fun thing to let this happen. Okay, thank you. I want to get a little purple in here. So you can see that this is moving, it's flowing. The edges are soft, except for the defining edges of the wing, but in the interior of the wing, it's very soft. I'm just kind of going back and forth with the blue and the purple. If you want to, I always show people this, you can dry your brush off and remove some of the color, some of the pigment if you want to. You can also get it lighter that way. A little bit darker down here. Whoa. Sometimes it gets a little darker than you want it to, but that's okay. That's okay. You can see I didn't put any paint right here, but I think I will. So again, I'm taking a little bit of the purple and just feeding it into this wash right down at the base of this particular wing. Okay, now I know, remember, I can always go back and do some more defining later when this is dry. Okay. This kind of has a little bit of a transparent look to it, I would say. Yeah. Very, very simple little watercolor. Okay, now this probably want to wait a little bit longer, but I think it'll be okay. I'm going to go ahead and do this other wing. And I need to turn it around, I think, here. So, whoops.
Is everybody following along okay? Just give a thumbs up or show your picture. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Did that other person, Susan?
She's on.
Good. Welcome, Susan. And we have a lot of classes here at the Art Center. There are drawing classes. There's a 8-week watercolor class. Yeah. And
Acrylic.
there's acrylic, there's pottery, all kinds of fun things going on, and lots of fun things for kids as well. So check it out. Might be something that you're interested in. We're having another free Zoom class next Monday, and I'm going to be doing a sunflower. That'll be a drawing class, so you can check that out. And then we have more free classes coming up. Although honestly, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do next. I got to figure it out. I was thinking about some fall colors and using those. Okay, so that's kind of working for me, and I don't mind that these sort of moved together a little bit. Looks kind of pretty. All right, so this is relatively dry here, and I'm going to mix up a nice dark. You could use a hair dryer if you have one, or you can just let it dry on its own. So let's see, I might get a few more details in this one here. As long as it's dry. I'm just going to go in with a few more darks in here, just for fun. Whoops. Tissues are always good to have on hand.
Good save.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely good to have on hand. So I just did a little darker of the pink a little bit over top, and you can see that it's kind of giving it a little more definition, but I don't want to overdo it too much. Actually, you could do lots of layers over watercolor. Just remember to let it dry before you try to do that. I'm sort of making up the markings here, but that's kind of close. You don't have to do it black unless you want to. That would be fine to do any color and just sort of keep it a little bit abstract if you want to. Or that's not the right word, but the colors are certainly not realistic. Okay, so that center, the body, we're going to need a dark. So I usually say that you could mix your primaries together. You could take your blue, excuse me, and your pink if you've got that out. And some yellow, and that will give you a nice dark. That's kind of a warm, really super. This happened to me the last time when I was trying to make it a dark. I'm not too happy with that either. Okay, well, that center needs to be relatively dark, the body, I mean, and you just want to paint that in. Okay. So this is more of a brown, but that's okay. And then I would use the tip of my brush with some paint. I'll show you. This is just using the tip of my brush to draw. That's why these brushes, when you get a good brush and it comes to a point, it's really versatile, I guess that would be a good word, because you can make these fine marks with it. Just get up on the tip of the brush, and this is relatively dry, not 100% dry, but I can anchor my hand, and just like if you were doing sort of a fine pencil drawing, and do the line work. Okay. And then we can do the same thing here. I think I drew this antenna right over here. That got a little bit thicker than I wanted it to. That's okay. So remember again, I can always go over this later and get it darker. So I'm going to move on to the flowers. Now, if you don't have time or you don't want to do flowers, that's totally cool. No worries. You can just do a pretty blue background or any kind of flower that you want, right?
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I'm going to just play around here with, I think I'm going to do pink flowers. So I kind of want to move this out of the way. Clean that a bit. And I'm thinking about just, oh, thank you, Tom. Yep. So I'm just going to do some little soft pink flowers. And again, I might use some of the peach. So I just mixed my pink with my yellow, and I think that'll be really pretty. I'm thinking about just making some, whoops, a little bit too much paint on there. Just some real soft little petals here. And I'm just using my brush to make those petals. But you might have a photograph of some flowers, or you just might want to make them up. That would be fun too. Just make some little daisies up, or daylilies, or whatever you like. So I'm just doing a wash for my petals, and then I'm adding a little deeper color here by using more paint, less water. And it gets it a little darker toward the base of these petals. So these aren't super detailed, they're just kind of soft little flowers, petals. Oops, gotta get that cleaned up. We did a fun class a few weeks ago. I think it was a few weeks ago when we did wildflowers. That was fun. trying lots of different ones and just painting them sort of free form. I think people enjoyed that. So I'm just sort of creating a little background here now. I don't have to overdo it, but just kind of keep it simple. I want this one here to be a little bit more pink in it. So in a few minutes, we have plenty of time, I think we'll let people share if they'd like to. I always like to see what you guys do. It's so fun. I'll keep working here a little bit. How are we on time?
About 15 minutes.
Okay. I'll get a little bit of green in here. My flowers, just sort of create some stems. So it's pretty quiet here today. They had a class earlier. Well, they had a lot of classes earlier today, but I think there was a class in the other studio with some homeschool kids, which was sort of fun. Right?
Oh yeah, it was fun. They're fun to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Even online, we had 9 students online too.
I'm just kind of being pretty loose about these flowers, but that's okay. And you can just have fun making these up. On my other one, I did a sunflower, and I thought it'd be fun to change it up a little bit here. I'm just getting a little paint around the edges there. Put something over here. I like this green right in this pan here. It's a nice green. Kind of like a little bit like sap, I think.
I wonder if it might be.
It probably is.
Got this tickle in my throat that it just won't go away.
That's no fun.
Well, it happens when the weather gets dry.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, how do you know you got symptoms or if it's just a normal thing?
It's just allergies. Everybody's
So,
having issues with allergies right now. So I'm
Yeah.
just going to pop a little bit of blue back in here. And I'm keeping it very loose. Just washing this in just to make kind of a fun background. And you can play around with it, like I said. Kind of a cheerful little painting. So right here, I don't know if you guys can see that, but right here, sort of, I probably can't very well, but the orangey pink sort of bled into the blue, which really is kind of pretty right there. Okay. So does anybody have a question? You can unmute and ask your questions if you want to. Or you can also use the chat, right, Tom?
Yes, you can use the chat, or you can unmute and bring forward any questions. And feel free to show your artwork you created today.
Is anybody coming?
No.
Not yet. Still painting away, right?
Oh yeah, they are.
Yeah, good.
This lady right here is going to show.
Oh, wow, that's very pretty.
Very, very pretty, yes.
I like those flowers down at the bottom. Oh, good.
Can you fix it so we can see their paintings also?
Go to gallery, the gallery view button, and push on it, and then you'll see everybody's. Do you see that button? The words
No.
up on the right-hand part of your screen, maybe? It'll say speaker view or gallery view. And then you can see everybody. Are you on a PC or a Mac?
PC.
Go into just look up at the right-hand corner of your screen.
Oh, I see. I think I see it.
Okay, just click on that.
Okay.
You have everybody now?
Yep.
Okay.
Cool, cool, Judy.
Hello.
I'm still working on mine.
Okay.
From Teresa Smith, I love today's class. Thank you for sharing your gift of watercolor today.
Oh, Teresa, thank you. That's really sweet. There's Rose and John. A lot of the people, I can't see them. They must have their...
They don't have their cameras on.
Oh, maybe could you tell them how to do that? Or maybe they don't want to.
Do any of you with your cameras off? Well, oh, hi, Julia. I
Hi.
didn't realize that was you.
There you are. We haven't
Hi.
seen you for what you doing.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, pretty, Julia. I really like the whole composition you've got there. That's really nice. Very pretty. Beautiful colors. Good to
Thank
see
you.
you.
Good to see you.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right.
Anybody else?
Anybody else?
They're still
All
painting.
right.
They're
He's
still painting. Hi there.
John.
That's
this is-
yes. Hi there.
I can't remember his name.
I know. He's in our class. Very nice. How about John? You gonna show us, John? Oh, good.
Oh, nice.
Good. He's got it on a butterfly bush, it looks like.
Yeah.
Nice. Rose, do you have one to share?
There you go.
Pretty Rose. Nice. Let's
I'm
see.
trying to make my colors more intense. Some of them
Oh.
are too light.
So just let it dry, Rose, and then once it's dry, you can go over it again. Right?
Okay, she put a thumbs up.
Okay, good.
There's mine.
Very pretty, Judy.
Nice. Nice, John.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else?
Emma, do you got something you want to show? Lisa, how about you? Oh, nice. Look at that. Thank you, Lisa.
Very pretty, Lisa.
Okay. Still got about 8 minutes.
Oh, okay. There's one.
Hey,
Yeah.
thank you.
You guys, you probably know that we're seeing you on a screen, right? So it's great. Emma, did you show us yours? No, you don't want to? That's okay. And Lisa, I recognize her. Okay, Yvette, that's pretty. Like your 3 butterflies.
Just have to do the background.
Okay, so let it dry
I'll show
before
you
you
mine,
do
but
that.
I have a lot. I have a lot to learn.
Oh, that's nice. Is it Patricia or Pat? Well, good job. You got to keep trying. Keep practicing. It looks good to me. And Jane, she's in our class, I think. But we're not seeing Jane today.
Oh, it's me.
I'm in your class, but I'm painting. I'm not caught up with you guys.
That's okay, Jane. Good to see you today.
Thank you.
Teresa.
Oh, there's a new one.
Oh, Teresa, that's pretty.
Pretty butterflies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Wanna get to you now, or
Sure.
we'll change up the camera? Whoops.
Whoops.
Whoa.
Maybe it's okay. Just leave it like that.
And you can talk to everybody now.
Aw. Well, again, thank you guys for joining us today, and stay tuned for more classes along the way. We'll be bringing them to you, and just hope you had fun and enjoyed this little lesson today. It was fun for me. It was fun for Tom too, I'm sure.
Yep, it was
So
fun for me.
thank you again, and hope you have a great rest of your day and keep painting. Yay.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. See you next week.